How did you get through to Bieber?
Suddenly my phone rings, and it's a US number, and it's Justin Bieber. And I'm like, hello, yes? And he's like, hey, yo, Thomas, I got your number from Corey. I need a. So I Googled the name, and the name was the ex-founder of Von Dutch. So that was pretty crazy. And so we knew something was brewing. That's our enemy number one. So we went straight out to LA to open a concept store there. So I moved to LA in 2010 to open the concept store. That was actually an interesting story. We saw suddenly I whipped my hair back and forth music video came out. And a friend of mine shot me an MSN message saying like, hey, you should your jumpsuits are all over this new song from Willow Smith. And I jumped on, YouTube or whatever it was and found the video. And I was like, wow, that's so cool. Wait, but that's not our jumpsuit. And it was a copy from a different brand. It was a US or a Los Angeles based brand. It's actually a Norwegian guy who started with the ex-founder of Von Dutch. They had started a competitor. They had actually bought like 20 jumpsuits from our website like earlier that year. And I saw it was from like a Beverly Hills address. So I Googled the name, and the name was the ex-founder of Von Dutch. So that was pretty crazy. And so we knew something was brewing. Anyways, when we saw that happening, we were like, okay, that's our enemy number one. So we went straight out to LA to open a concept store there.
So that was the reason you went out?
That was the reason, yeah.
That was almost like to defend your territory.
Yeah.
I saw that we went so fast.
Yeah, I left for LA the next day. After seeing that video, the next day I was on a flight to LA.
Like the same in London, you were there within 24 hours.
Yeah.
So you guys you jump on the opportunity. That's another thing I'm noticing here. You just jump on it, don't wait.
Yeah, that was a challenge more than an opportunity, but yeah. Then I went over and we opened the store 6 months later. Wow. So that was interesting. But when we came over there, our PR person set up a meeting with Scooter Braun, so Justin Bieber's manager, and he had, this was 2010, and Justin had just come out with Baby Baby, which of course was a monster hit. Justin was like, the biggest celebrity name there was out there. And we had a drink at the SLS Hotel with Scooter, and we said that we were bringing this product to the US, and we'd love to partner. So we ended up doing like a partnership with him and Justin in the US market. And of course, through that, we got a lot of connection and stuff like that, which was fantastic. Justin, wore our products a lot, and he actually called me once when I was at home watching a movie with my girlfriend at the time, and suddenly my phone rings, and it's a US number, and it's Justin Bieber, and I'm like, hello, yes, and he's like, hey, yo, Thomas, I got your number from Corey. I need a red drop crotch one piece. I'm like, okay, but they're already like extremely drop crotch. Like, how dropped do you want the crotch to be?
How dropped can the crotch be?
Yeah. And he wanted it like below the knees, which is quite dropped. It makes it difficult to walk. But we ended up making the red drop crotch jumpsuits. There's some photos. I'm not sure if there's a photo of him in it, but I know there's a photo at least of him, some of his friends in Hawaii wearing this like drop crotch red one piece, which is quite ridiculous. Of course, we made what he wanted. But through that, we made a lot of connections and stuff like that. And I think it's also, asking the question, like, how do we get it on a lot of celebrities? It's a lot of just, like, hustling, going outside your comfort zone. Mm-hmm. Like, when we went to these, like, we were invited to all the, backstages and the concerts for Justin and stuff like that. And there's always, tons of people that, celebrities coming to watch and having VIP tickets and backstage and stuff like that. So, we just roll in with bags full of jumpsuits and... Yeah, go outside your comfort zone and just push people and try to get like, put it on. And then you start getting a little group, and suddenly you got a cool group wearing them, and then it's suddenly, it's...
You get the tipping point, right? If you get enough people wearing it, then everyone else is like, okay, I feel stupid not having it, right?
Yeah. You want to create that FOMO. No one wants to be the kid without the it thing, the Tamagotchi, the Hollister, the One Piece.
Yeah, and when it's like, when it's good party vibes and a good atmosphere, the jumpsuits make you... loosen up a bit and go a bit wilder.
It's actually awesome. One Piece party where everyone is in it. No one's caring like, oh, how's my top look? Or like, everyone's just in that same sort of vibe where like zero fucks given and...
Uniformity. But a little bit of personalization here and there, right? You pick your color, the fabric, the chewy version. But it hasn't always been plain sailing, I guess, right? So like, you guys were like skyrocket to fame and success. You're young guys, you're in your 20s, You're scaling into the UK, into the US.
20s, yeah.
Still not
Forever.
fathers.
Mentally.
You know, and then you know, like, because I remember my experience with what One Piece was. You know, it was such a hit. You know, if you were there in 2009, then it must have been like, you know, 10 to 11, 2010 to 11. I just remember it was like the one thing you have to have that year. My sister was like, "Yeah, Matt, I told Mom she's gonna buy us One Pieces for Christmas. You know, like, which you want, the blue one?" Or it was always the blue one. I think I still have it at home somewhere in storage. You know, at my mom's house. Like, I think it's the one over there actually, one of the original blue ones, like that from 2011, right? And you guys were up there. I remember that it was the craze that had been created around Abercrombie and Fitch. These Jack Wills, the university outfitters they were calling themselves, and then One Piece, right? How do you keep the flame going? Like, because I mean, with a product that's a sensation, with, like you said, a generation, that generation then grows up, you know, like you have with the belts. Like, have you had an experience of sort of like the product you know, having a massive hit and then sort of like the flame dropping off? Or then do you find your kind of stable business within that?
Well, definitely in Norway at start, it was too much too fast, right? Then you hit
We
like
learned a lot in Norway, yeah.
It hit like market saturation, right? We sold to 2% of the Norwegian population in 18 months.
2% of the Norwegian population in 18 months.
In 18 months. And then suddenly everyone has it, right? It's like a Tamagotchi. It cannot last. So then you get this high peak and then a drop off. But in other countries like Germany, for example, we branded it in a much better way, and you saw this much more like slower and longer, and I still like in Germany it's still perceived as a, you know, as the cool brand that it is, but in Norway still some of that sort of like old school, no, the blast from the past is still hanging a bit.
But you have to kind of, you know, look at your market situation, right? We were kind of creating this big market in Norway, and then there was probably 20 other brands popping up, creating the same thing, and in Sweden and other markets as well. So we kind of took the approach to, okay, we have a chance now to make, you know, a really solid financial situation for this company in Norway, if we sell a lot. Like, we can take the market, but of course, doing that with a country with 5 million people, you're gonna oversaturate it quite a bit. But we basically just agreed to just say yes to everything. So I remember I brought the whole Paradise Hotel. Again, we rented a bus, and we brought the whole Paradise Hotel crew, rented a cabin up in Hemsedal, and we brought them all up to Hemsedal and had like a Paradise Hotel party. And this was like the second or first season of Paradise Hotel, so they were, you know, massively famous. Yeah. They, you know, rolled up there in peach-colored, pink-colored, you know, purple jumpsuits, with our big logo on the back, printed it as, you know, as big as I possibly could. Like, what's the biggest logo I could fit on the back? And we put the logo on it. And, you know, at the after ski, and they were just like, you know, we had a camera team with us, creating videos that went on YouTube and, you know, got tons of views. So we basically just put it on everyone and everything. We got Voa, the blogger, to actually work in the concept store. So instead of just like paying her 20,000 kroners or 30,000 kroners or whatever for like a post, we said, we'll pay you 20,000 kroners an hour if you come and work at the concept store. And then she would, of course, blog, like, I'm now getting on the bus from Hønefoss and I'm going into work at the store. And then when she came to the store, there was a line outside the door of people waiting to come in to buy the products from her. So we really oversaturated the market. So it went, as Ollie said, like this and then down. But yeah, then we learned that going into new markets, we had to kind of take a different approach. So, you know, we didn't really have a logo. Like, I made the logo in Photoshop using a standard font, like, or putting two fonts together. Like, it's the worst logo of all time, is that first logo we had. But when we made our new logo, which is the best logo of all times, we got a guy from Sweden has been working. Carl Johan, who's helped us tremendously, kind of building the brand and the whole kind of brand strategy. And he also made our logo. And, you know, before we kind of went international, we did that kind of, okay, this is how we made a brand book, and we made a bit of like American Apparel kind of vibe to it. And yeah, new logo, new everything. And yeah.
We also always keep it like somewhat stylish, right? Yes, it's a quirky piece of wear, right? Where it's like
it's loungewear, right?
It's
what we call it. You know,
definitely loungewear. And so yes, it's an adult baby grow, right? But we kept very much like distance to this like animal stuff or like costumes, right? So it's definitely not Not a costume. We could probably have made lots of like costume stuff and sold loads, but then it would deteriorate the brand and rather create, you know, stylish stuff with very, very good material and all sorts of different styles. Like that, like this one, isn't it?
Yeah.
Stylish.
Yeah, it's true. It's got a kind of like
Quality.
A, kind of,
The hunting.
the hunting one.
It's
Yeah.
called good. What's it called? Good.
Goodwill hunting. Good
No,
something
that's the-
hunting.
Yeah. Whatever.
What's so yeah,
Something hunting.
it's interesting because you sort of, you know, you go to these different markets, right, and you have to like localize it, right? So like you said in Germany, you didn't go in with the sort of university outfit, you know, party, original.
Oh, still party.
Oh yeah, it's always a party involved. Germans like to party.
Because
everybody
on the
knows that.
Hangover Sunday, everyone really sees the massive value of the jumpsuit, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Because that's the one thing about the product, right? It markets itself, which is fantastic. If you have a product that markets itself, that's always, you know, the easiest marketing, the product to market. And the second is it has a really nice functional value. Like now when it's cold, like it's lying on the sofa at home with a jumpsuit when you wake up in the morning, like it's really, really, really functional and really nice. So I think that's why it's continued. If you ask people in Norway, like about One Piece, many people think, you know, oh, that company, I thought that was, you know, went broke 10 years ago or whatever. But we actually had our best year ever last year. And I think this year is maybe even going to be better in terms of, you know, e-com. Now we're focusing only on e-com. We don't do our own stores anymore. No, only e-com. So you know, we've had a great success outside of Norway, even though Norway is now maybe like 2% of the market or 3% of the market or something.
What's your biggest market?
U.S.
US. Okay.
U.S. and then like Germany, U.K., France. Yeah.
I was curious because I was sitting down with the founder of Frank Walton the other day, you know, Norwegian brand, right? Yep. And we were talking about how is it to build a Norwegian brand internationally, because Scandinavia benefits from this sex appeal, because, you know, it's the Swedes with Klarna, Spotify, Acne, these cool trendy brands, the Danes with their furniture, you know, brand Scandi is sellable internationally because it comes with a sort of sleek, sexy design, right? How important or how valuable has it been for your brand to be Norwegian, and have you used the Norwegian angle to market yourself internationally? Like, this is a Norwegian brand, trust it, well made. It's
100%.
Yeah.
Like our tagline is the original from Norway.
The original from Norway is your tagline.
One piece of Norway, like definitely that gives that sort of trust. And the big sellers, like you see, we do these sort of fair, like Norwegian style designs. We got the Marius has to be here somewhere.
Yeah.
There you go. This sort of Marius design, which is extremely Norwegian, right?
That's super Norwegian, yeah. So yeah, for anyone who doesn't know, like in the Norwegian, you have this famous jumper, which is that pattern, and it's something your grandmother knits for
famous
you.
Famous skier, Marius Eriksen. So this is actually a patent. We actually do have a special license to sell this design.
The pattern's even licensed.
Yeah.
Incredible.
It's one of the most knitted patterns in the world or something.
Yeah.
Well, you know, we spoke about sort of the evolution of One Piece from the beginning to the middle, and you're in the journey. We're still in the middle. We're still in the journey, right? But along the way, you know, you've started several years ago an additional business to the portfolio, Brandbassadors, right? How did that come about, and why did you sort of see the need to sort of create an additional business along that journey?
And so that's a key to the One Piece story. So we've been talking about how we went to all these, opened all these stores, had all these parties, went to festivals, went out to meet people, right, and build network, and how we got to all these celebrities and stuff. But we also met so many cool people, like Gigi was before she skyrocketed A-list famous.
Because of wearing a One Piece, of course.
Yeah, because of wearing a One Piece. But it helps with.
as the peacekeeper, and then just like that's.
That's thanks to us. We met so many cool people, right? And in the start, of course, you take their numbers or whatever, and then you keep track of people in some sort of Excel sheet, and then you know, get in One Pieces, they're arranging parties, and maybe we're going back to that town. I want to, you know, get back to everyone I kind of arranged sort of an ambassadorship with back then. And then we realized that this is extremely valuable. There's thousands, tens of hundreds of thousands of people potentially that could become ambassadors of our brand and help us spread the word. And this was also in sort of the brink of social media when that was starting off properly. So we understood that suddenly, for the first time ever, anyone and their grandmother could just, by a click of a button, reach out to all their friends. Right? That was new. That had never happened before. So we saw that was also a great way to spread the word. But we wanted to have like all these thousands or tens of thousands of people, and we realized that we could build a kind of custom-built CRM system and stuff where they could, and this we named the first ambassador group of ONEPIECE the Peacekeepers.
Peacekeepers.
So that was our tribe.
Hadid was part of, like you said, she was one of the original peacekeepers.
Yeah, she was definitely a peacekeeper. And then, so the peacekeepers, what they could do was pretty cool and very new at the time, for sure. They could log into the ONEPIECE website, got their own login.
Their own little portal.
Their own little portal. They could log in, they could generate a discount code that would work on the ONEPIECE website that they could share with their friends, and they would earn commission on the sales they generated. They could log in, they could see the sales they generated, they could withdraw it to their PayPal or bank account. And then we also could create these missions for them. In there, we could be like, hey, share our video on Facebook. We made a new piece of content, and then we could get thousands of people to just share it. Or, you know, as Instagram came about, of course, post on Instagram or YouTube, or just, hey, come to our latest party, right? So when we went to a new town, we went back to LA or whatever, hey, come to our new store launch. And that's how we sort of managed our ever-growing tribe. We could just, as we met people with, hey, sign up here, sign up here, sign up here. And how when we launched the New York store, that was...
Yeah, it grew to drive around like 15% of the revenue of the company, these ambassadors, the peacekeepers. So, you know, Ollie and I worked a lot with that and you know, building that system. And as we went to New York to open the store there, that was a you know, a store on Broadway. Again, like, you know, absolutely prime location. I think they wanted like $800,000. Was it a month or a year? I think even actually I think it was $800,000 a month to rent that store location. And we you know, you have to sell a lot of jumpsuits in a store to make that money back. So we contacted the owner, and they wanted like a 10-year lease, right? They don't sign any less than a 10-year lease. This was like next to the Armani store on Broadway. So I went to the owner and I said, hey, if you can rent it to us at 90% discount, we were just going to have like a pop-up shop there up until you find someone who wants to rent it. And I promise you we'll create a lot of buzz around it.
And this was before pop-up shop was a thing.
I was about to say, this is really, probably before it was a thing. Because the same thing, I remember you in London, you had this pop-up shop, that's when it was a thing. But you guys were doing pop-up shops before it was a thing.
Yeah. This was before.
No one's ever heard about pop-up shop before. No. The landlord was like, what do you mean? Like, you're not going to sign a 4-year lease? Like,
No, we're just going to, so you got 90% discount.
Yeah, so you got 90% discount. And then, of course, the store was like a building site. Like, it wasn't like, to redo that store would have cost, you know, an extra $5 million to redo. So what we did is that we just went into this, it was a big, about 1,000 square meter store. And we just put down like a beautiful white, shiny floor in the middle as a square. And then we built the store as like a cubicle inside the store. So we didn't touch anything around, but we made like this cubicle store inside this like...
almost like a stage.
Yeah, almost like a stage. And then but we knew still $80,000 was still a lot of money for us. And we had to still sell a lot of jumpsuits to make that money back with like the rent and everything, building the store and all of that. So we said that anyone who came to the store on opening day and signed up to the Peacekeepers, and on the Peacekeeper program, you had to link your social network. So anyone who did that on opening day would get $1 per 1,000 followers they had on social media in gift card, up to $500. So you could basically come in with, you know, 500,000 followers on social media, sign up to the Peacekeepers, link your social accounts, and get $500 worth of jumpsuits. Yeah. And, you know, Justin Bieber tweeted that we were very smart to cap our social currency at $500. If not, he would have gotten $369,000 in free jumpsuits or something like that. And then it, you know, completely exploded. We reached, I think, 1.2 billion people with the PR. It was written about in like all the biggest news outlets. And the day of opening, there was a line around the block of all these like influencer kind of people. This was even before the word influencer existed. Like, you know, Barack Obama was an influencer, but no one else would call themselves an influencer, right? So very early stage. And line around the block and people came and signed up, and it got a lot of press. And then a lot of brands started contacting us, asking us like, hey, what software are you using for running this Peacekeeper program? And can we license it? Can we buy it? Where'd you buy it? Whatever. So that's when Ollie and I was like, okay, we brought to the board and we said, hey, listen, I think we should really consider making a separate company out of this. So we spun this out, and Ollie and I left stopped our day-to-day job in One Piece in 2016 and started building Brandbassador. And we launched that first platform in 2018. And basically the same thing, like we help brands build a community of ambassadors. It can be their customers, it can be their social media fans, but basically enables you to work with not 10, 20, 100, but like thousands of your people and let them be more engaged with your brand. So let them kind of enter the ecosystem of the brand and, as Ollie said, do two main things, like drive awareness through doing these missions. And the mission can be anything from go skydiving in One Piece and put it on YouTube and we'll give you $1,000 in store credit. Or it could be just go and comment on our latest Instagram post and let us know what you think about that, for example, right? Or creating their own content on TikTok and Instagram stories. And it could be anything between, hair in the moon kind of thing.
And all the mundane kind of follow-up work is automated, right? Yeah. Everything is like, it detects everything is connected through APIs and stuff, and it detects what you do. Also, the rewards are also dynamic in a very cool way, so you can automatically reward your ambassadors like per like they get on their post, for example, or per comment they get on their post, or the follower they have. I mean, like that, the smaller guys gets rewarded less than the bigger guys, but it's all there's no sort of that negotiation piece. It's all everyone can just log in and do the stuff that they want to do and get rewarded for it.
And it's extremely powerful to kind of have, on Instagram, you can kind of like, it's built for private, personal kind of interactions in the way Instagram and Facebook, all these social media networks are kind of built initially for humans to interact socially together, right? And then kind of brands come in as more as a noise than anything else, right? Every fifth story you go through is a sponsored one. Every fifth post you go through is a sponsored one. Yeah. So we really felt that on Instagram you post a picture and you can your people can interact with it through a comment or a like. That's it. That's the only interaction. And brands put lots of money in building up their Instagram, and then Mark Zuckerberg turns down the algorithms, and you get less and less reach. And one day our Facebook now has 1.2 million people. We get 10 likes when we post something. When we had 120,000, we got 15,000 likes, right? So. Now we have to pay for everything. So, we want brands to be able to build a community that they own and they control. And that is so, so powerful when you get the core of your community to kind of, be there at your disposal to help you kind of push the brand forward when you need it. I saw, it was an example that we had. We saw there was a big like finance guy in New York on Twitter. I can't remember his name, but he has 500,000 followers on Twitter or something. And he puts a lot of companies on the stock exchange. He did a lot of these SPACs, right? He did a lot of these SPACs, and then he wrote a post on Twitter where he said like, "Hey, I have this idea about this marketplace where you can put out like tasks for people to do, and you can reward them based on how many followers they have on social media, kind of thing." It was basically just like saying our exact idea, right? Yeah. And he gets like 10,000 replies and goes, "It's a great idea, blah blah blah." And then and I comment on it. I said like, "Hey, this is exactly what Brandbassador is," and my comment just goes to the bottom, right? No one sees it. And then we just put it out a mission on Brandbassador, and we said, "Hey, go to that Twitter and that tweet and reply to my reply, basically." And we got like in 20 minutes we got like 500 replies, and my comment was on the very top, and he saw it, and it was so. It can be used in so many different ways. So, it doesn't take away the fact that you need to be creative. You need to work with your community in a creative way.
The more creative, the better.
Yeah, creativity always wins, but you have kind of a tool here at your disposal, which is extremely powerful to kind of really propel that creativity and get the most out of it. So
you see the brands that are the most successful are those who create fun tasks. Because there's people doing this, right? This is not a machinery. This is not like Google Ads, right? You're asking actual fans of your brand to do stuff for you, but they're doing it. Many of them out of genuine interest for your brands, but it also
a supporter of the brand.
Yeah, as long as you put and if you're able to put that creative fun element into it as well, then everyone gets so much out of it without having to pay astronomical prices, right? And then.
Yes. You gamify it, and there's like leaderboards, and make it a bit more fun for the people. And even if you only have like 1,000 followers, okay, you get 25 cents in gift card here, then you get 75 cents in gift card there, and then you've been with us for a year, and then suddenly you have $29 and you get a free one-piece cap, right? Or you go and buy a jumpsuit and you get $30 off it, or so it's kind of, you don't have to be a massive influencer. It's more like the the long tail in a way of influencer marketing, but it's also, customer loyalty and all that is also a big part of it. It's building a community.
Businesses as well, right? So then they go create their audiences. Because it just stands out to me. So you started out by the community we all learn and grow up in, which is sort of that party community. You go into university and all that kind of stuff, right? And the one thing that's never changed is community with what you do. Now you package it slightly differently and you work with bigger brands and businesses globally, and you engage and interact with their audiences, or you help them to engage and interact with their audiences in a way where there's a kickback and it's value add for everyone, right? So community is key. Like that is actually the sole reason you've been successful in what you've done, from the belts opening to the one pieces to Brandbassador. It's all been about creating a community or tapping into a community that exists already and helping them to reward each other, helping them to be seen, helping them to feel the community feeling, right?
Yeah. Exactly. It's all about community. And we've I guess we understood it and saw the value of it very, very early, right? When we started building it through all the people that we met. And then when when we started Brandbassador in 2016 or started building it in 2016, it was quite obvious for us that every brand in the world will benefit greatly from having a community of people helping them spread the word, right? For us, it's just like so obvious. But then it came a little bit in the whole influencer marketing bubble that happened.
Timing was pretty good for you guys, right?
Yeah,
social media.
Yeah, social media was definitely important. And when we were, so let's say we launched in 2018, we were selling the idea of building community around your brand. It was still a little bit early. Everyone had this influencer marketing thing in their head, right? They were like, yeah, well, how can I get these people with 1 million followers to post about my brand? We were like, yeah, well, these guys you have to approach differently, right? These guys you have to either know them from before they get millions of followers, like we did with Gigi, or you have to sort of befriend in a way. But if you want to have those masses of building a community and like the value proposition of why that is so valuable, we were struggling a little bit with that in 2018. Sort of saying to people like, forget the influencer marketing, that's going to be yesterday's news. Community building around your brand, that's the way to go. And we see now that sentiment has shifted. So brands are now coming to us, and the whole idea of building a community around your brand becomes stronger and stronger and stronger. More and more brands are now realizing that is the way to go. That is so valuable, especially thinking about the data that you would get, right? You want to own your community. You want to own all the data of your community and be able to reach out to them with whatever that you want at any time. But with social media, as Thomas was onto, right? In Instagram, you don't own any of the data. If you try to shout out to them, no one's going to see it unless you put money on it. So that's what sort of building community is all about, having that closeness to your absolute best fans, your best consumers, and the people that want to share their word. And so it's all about just one thing I wanted to say about the whole like Mark Zuckerberg thing, right? Instead of putting $10,000 on a sharing some video, right, and pay Mark Zuckerberg $10,000 to reach out to people that already like your page, you could rather give $10 to 1,000 people and help them share it to their friends and their network. And that piece of influence is so much stronger, because if I see you sharing something about a tech startup, right, I'll be like, well, I definitely get influenced by you and everyone. A lot of other people do as well. So much stronger than if I see an ad, right?
Yeah, I think that's the point. Like you said, you're tapping. It's the community that supports it. We all have to use the platforms of Instagram, Facebook, etc. Right? But like you said, we're flipping on the head. Instead of giving the platform 10K to share the video and get as many views and of random, parameters, you tap into existing communities and that gets shared in the periphery, and the periphery, and the periphery, and the snowball. And that's the bread and butter of what you guys have done, right? So just to sort of, come to sort of a conclusion on the entrepreneurial journey that you're both still very much in, and you're still young, you're still at the beginning of it all, but what would you do differently? What lessons would you have for any sort of Norwegian or any entrepreneur watching this, inspired by the story? Maybe wearing a one piece while they watch this on a Sunday. Hopefully. We'll put a discount code down, but I'll become a peacemaker. Exactly. Put it at the bottom. But Peacekeeper, yeah, that's the one.
Do it.
Yeah.
Definitely. What would you do differently? I don't think too much about...
Positive or negative? Like, I would have done this, I would have not listened to people, or I would have listened to, I would have Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I think you sometimes in life you come across certain products or opportunities, or in my instance at least, like products. I've come across certain products and also services with Brandbassador that I just like feel it's just like it markets itself. And I think and it's been like with the belt buckle, right? When I first saw the Got Bear belt buckle online, I was like, that is the app. Like, how can someone not want this? Like, my brain was like, and I had 2,000 euros saved in my account from like, watching dogs over summer and cutting lawns, and like, saved up over the last 20 years, right? So all my money, I was just like, I was 100% sure. I didn't even ask anyone. I bought everything. Put all my money into buying that one belt buckle. I got 500 of them. And I sat in my room. I was a bit like, cold feet. And I started asking my friends, like, does anyone want to join? Like, you're going to do this 50-50? And everyone was like, no, absolutely no. And my parents as well was like, quite skeptical. One of me, of course, all my friends were starting to study. But then, I started selling it online, and I started selling one and then two and then three, and, within a month or so, suddenly I was selling like, I got 50, 60 orders a day, which was, quite a lot of money. I made more money than my parents the first year. My parents combined the first year. And then at least I got a little bit of a voice on the education part. But my parents really, my mom pushed me like, you can't live off belt buckles for the rest of your life, and yada, 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 yada. So I was kind of pushed into starting at BE. I went to civilmarkedsføring at BE. And that kind of, there I wasted some time, I feel, because then I moved my office out of my parents' basement, and I got an office space right next to the school, so I can just jump between classes in school. But in the marketing classes, I had a professor who was 65 years old. Facebook was just kind of starting, or not Facebook, but like social media with the websites that Ollie was creating, these like friend kind of websites and stuff like that. Like online marketing was just kind of booming. And basically everything that I was doing in my shop that was going quite well was what this professor in school was saying not to do, kind of thing. So I felt like, I probably, this is such a bad advice. Like, I felt like that I threw away some time studying those 2-3 years. At least I threw away.
Don't go to school.
Don't go to school.
No, but that was at least, I kind of did that to please my parents a bit. So I think just, trust yourself is important.
Back yourself.
Yeah, back yourself. And I think when you come across these like products like that, you get this like feeling like this is really good. I think almost the worst thing you could do is go and ask people, because the most important thing is when you have that fire in you, that's like, this belt buckle is insane. Like, that is unbelievable feeling. Same thing when I got the jumpsuit and I walked out of town and people came to me and they said, what the hell is it? But we're like, that amount of feedback that I got in one night, I was like, okay, this has to be a success. Like, it's made, like it cannot be a success, because you get so much feedback. And the same thing the first time I came across like the pop sockets, those things that you put it back on your phone to hold your those things that pop in and out. Do you have one on your phone there?
No, I actually lost
No, I lost it. Okay, yeah. Also, when I came across that the first time, it was just like, I got one, I put it on my phone, and everywhere I went, people was like, what is this? What is this? And it was the talking piece at a dinner. Everyone was looking at it, putting it on the table, letting it stand by itself, feeling it, spinning around. Like, it was just this. And now you see it on, I think more than one out of every second phone. Like, it's everywhere, right?
It's like the ring on the back, right? Like, that's the thing.
Yeah. And that was also a part that I was like, this is insane. So I think when you come across those products and those services, those stuff that's just like, this is, and it lights that fire in you, then just like, you have to go. Like,
go.
Drop everything else.
Yeah.
Because I had.
Don't go to class. Don't go to school. Don't listen to anyone. Just like, then you have to run and just do that and then be fully focused on it, and you'll have a lot of fun along the way as well. And I think when you're young as well, things are you just like, there's no risk. It doesn't matter if you start studying when you're 21 or if you start studying when you're 23 or 24. Like, it doesn't matter. If you have an opportunity to kind of try to do something yourself, and you can create a little bit of money so you can at least get by, then go for it. Like, you have to go for it.
And it's easier when you're like younger, like start of 20s or like in 20s, because as you said, like, we have to be a lot outside your comfort zone, right? You literally have to no shame. Like, how much no shame we've had.
I read some of the emails that I've sent. Like, I go back on my Instagram and look at some like the messages that I've sent to people and the number of times I've sent them to like celebrities and stuff like that. Like, it's so embarrassing. It's the worst.
Like, it wouldn't have we wouldn't been completely unable to do the same thing now.
Yeah.
Right. Also because we're older, so people are like, what are you guys
Why are you
doing?
pushing
Right.
this shit on me?
Yeah,
Like,
back then you get away with so much.
Yeah.
Right.
It's true.
He's young. He's young.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think to your point earlier, like you mentioned, like being that young guy or girl going up to the celebrities and asking and promoting, trying to push and promote, or asking to put the bus in the middle of the venue and be like, oh, please, we're trying so hard and we're just little entrepreneurs. You know, like, yeah, literally, it's so valuable because, like you said, I remember when I was first starting my Lunicorn, I was just dropping the links to the latest videos on everyone until Facebook was like, you're a bot, you know, like you're a bot. Your account is blocked for 24 hours because I was doing it in like a robot because I was like, copy paste, copy paste, copy paste, forward. And I was shameless, but at the same time, I only ever got one response, which was negative. And it was a guy who, you know, he just said, can you please stop sending me this? Like, but he was a guy I knew, and I think, I don't know, I knew him only one time of the thousands, tens of thousands of, one. I got, and I think most people would be terrified of what people would think. However, I remember when I did a deal with Essentia once, PwC once, and that came through this girl that I knew who worked there, and I bombarded her, like, because I had as a friend with her on Facebook or whatever. And then eventually I came through. She pitched me and she was like, you're such a hustler. Like, she had respect for me because I was doing anything and everything to like get business. And then I did business with them and they're like, we know he's gonna put effort in for this because we know this guy's out there like asking grandparents, like, do you wanna watch my video? You know, like I need the views for YouTube or whatever, you know? And so like that, I think that's a really great advice actually, sort of like listen to your gut, follow the flames. And like you said, like, you know, if, you know, people were like, you know, the one piece is that, oh, it's never going to work. And then you wore it out, you followed the flame. If you listened to too many people before, you'd be like, yeah, this is stupid. Like, I should keep going with the belts and go into straps or something else, right? And then that sort of evolved into that.
I think that's an important point. Like, also, like being shameless, but also persistency.
Yeah.
Being persistent, right?
Yeah.
I remember we had we really wanted to have a pop-up shop in London in Box Park, it was called, right? This new pop-up shop thing that was coming up, and the owner there, he had this like very specific ideas of brands. There was lots of cool, like Alexander McQueen, and there was like some cool like Hollister, like cool brands that were very like hand-picked brands. Yeah. And but I applied, I got rejected, and I called him. And he said, I know, sorry, it's not the time now. And I had my alarm on every Tuesday and every Thursday. I called him for 6 months. And I called him.
Did he answer?
Yeah, sometimes he did.
Like,
Sometimes
no.
he did, sometimes he didn't. And it became a bit of a laugh in the end.
Yeah,
And sometimes I spoke to his assistant, and then suddenly I just...
His sister and his
yeah, it wasn't far off. And then he actually came to our stand in Bread and Butter. And I've actually never met him physically, right? But he was a bit of a hotshot. He sold a sneaker brand called Box White, and I read his story. I really looked up to him as an entrepreneur. So he came onto the stand, and he came straight to me, and he just shook my hand. It's like, Ollie, thank you for your persistency. You're in.
And that would never have happened if you didn't call. But I love that you set a reminder. But how can we all just remember to be, because, you know, right now I'm 32, right? You know, and years ago when I first started being an entrepreneur, I do remember I just had such a shameless drive. Yeah. Such a shameless, I will do anything and everything. I'll go broke or whatever. Yeah. But I somehow found solace in that. Like today, I need to remind myself to sort of be creative with it. Like not because it's gone, but I need to sort of, I almost need to like, I don't have any tattoos, but I would love to get a tattoo, which like sort of is a reminder of that. Yeah. Like, I always one thing I try to hold myself to, which is sort of, it's one of the things I want to, like on my deathbed, be remembered for, which is always, what is it now? It's always do, everybody, no one ever remembers what was expected. They remember what was unexpected. So like that can mean different things to you. Like for me, it's like no one remembers that you invited them for dinner and you cooked them dinner. They remember that you invited them you cooked them for dinner, and I put all the ingredients on the table. Like I like to cook, so this table I invite you guys around, which I will when I finally settle down again and get a new place. You know, and like we're eating pumpkin soup. I mean, just an example. I'm gonna buy 5 pumpkins and put them on the table. for like art, you know, like so like it's you. People don't remember what was expected. They remember the unexpected, and that's like for you guys. But you guys could have gone out and be like, we're selling the Norwegian cozy cabin sweatery long one piece thing. No, you went out there and you're like, no, this is a cool brand. This is the unexpected.
No one expected table service at China White in London with kids wearing onesies. Like that's definitely unexpected.
Exactly. Yeah.
You have to just go for it. One of the things that we really want now with the one thing that we've been talking about before in One Piece is that we would love to get like the SpaceX team all in, like, you know, when they're in the launch center, they're all there, like, and it launches, you know, they're all like celebrating when they launch.
We have that astronauts piece.
So we've made like
a little bit.
But we made like some samples of like some jumpsuits now, which are like copies of the actual SpaceX space suits to get like the whole team, the whole crew, not of course the ones going to space, but the ones on the ground wearing like these jumpsuits. Yeah. But then you have to kind of get it in there somehow. And then we're like, yeah, you can try to like tweet Elon Musk, but there's like, you know, 5 million people tweeting him every day, so it's hard. But then maybe you just like send, maybe get like a small child to write like a letter, like like Elon, just at least write the letters on the front, Elon Musk, like, you know, and then the letter inside. But you have to do something different, right?
Oslo.
Yeah. Thomas, 7 years old. But no, you have to do things like
think
a bit
outside
different.
the box.
Yeah.
So one thing I always like to think of as well, which is that, you know, I do this now when I do some consulting as well with some businesses, and I talk to entrepreneurs and I say, instead, you know, what is everyone doing, but what are they not doing? What is everyone not doing? Like I like to look at things from the flip it on its head. Yeah, but what is everyone not doing? Where's the blue ocean? Where's the space that needs to be taken that isn't been taken, that separates you? And I do that with my books. I wrote a cartoon book about startup buzzwords, right? I don't think you have a copy. I should bring you a copy. I think you have, right? Do you not have one either? No. I'll bring you guys one next time. Yeah. But no, so, you know, like with my book as well, it's like, I'm going to create this book as a calling card. So any meeting I ever go to, whether it's for business or not, consulting, whatever, I take a copy of my book. It's pink. It's really popular with children. It wasn't written as a children's book. But anyway, and I bring it, and I'm like, I have a meeting, and I'm like, yeah, lovely to meet you, you know, gentlemen. You know, we want to do this business, blah, 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 blah. By the way, I brought you a signed copy of my book. And they're like, huh. Yeah. And then whether we do business or not, that book goes on their desk, whether it's for 12 hours, 24 hours, a week, they forget about it, it goes on the bookshelf. But they will at some point, whether they said yes or no, I will be like you calling him every single day. It's like, how can you stand out outside of the ordinary? How can you be front of mind? Or how can they just, that's why I moved back to Oslo. Because I come back here and I just get so much business and people are like, oh, so good to see you. Oh yeah, this brand, this business wants to do business with you. But when I'm not here front of mind and my book isn't on their desk, they forget about you, right? And you guys were persistently trying to be that. So I'm going to come to the front. We're going to wrap this up. I'm going to come to the front. Let's finish like we started. Boys, what a pleasure to learn about your journeys. Thank you so much. Thomas,
always a pleasure having you.
Go and check out onepiece.com. .com. One Piece. They got the domain.
Whatever you want.
Buy one of the new ones. One of these ones. Maybe if you're lucky, I'll become a peacemaker.
Discount below.
Discount below.
And Brandbassador.
And Brandbassador, of course.
.com.
And unfortunately, have you got any belts left? No. We can't sell any of those.
No.
Boys,
belts.
Congrats on your success.
Thank you.
Keep going.
Brandbassador, watch that space.
Brandbassador.com.
Yeah.
We'll link it below. Enjoy. Don't forget to like and subscribe, like we always like to say. Thanks for watching this episode. Ciao.
Thanks, guys.